So what's up, everybody?
What's
We're back.
happening?
What is
Yeah,
happening?
we don't usually talk about it. We just get straight into it. But hey, man, give us some feedback. Give us some comments. Like and share all that.
Yeah, that's true. We like to see where we're going, where we've been, see what you're thinking. Because if we're doing what we're doing and there aren't as many comebacks or there aren't any comments, we're thinking that, hey, everything's okay. What we're saying is correct, even when we're wrong. But I'm sure we've had comments in the past when someone's disagreed with us, mostly in our boxing groups or boxing chats when we do something like that, a live show. Someone will come a little bit later complaining about how we got it wrong with a particular fighter. Floyd isn't the greatest. No one's ever said that. The same thing.
Yeah, especially yesterday's show.
Oh,
We're passionate about Florida State getting robbed
oh,
and all
how
that.
can you not?
Yeah, I don't
You
know,
know,
but there's a lot of people who probably agree with the bogus committee.
I'm sure there are a lot of people who agree with it. Doesn't make it right. I mean,
Yeah,
this is what you had done in the beginning of the season, or the reason why you have the CFP coming from the BCS, because you wanted to give the best opportunity to the teams who had proven it over the course of a season, and going undefeated and being a conference champ should be the reason why. Not being a one-loss team, not only one-loss team, you have two one-loss teams who are conference champs, and you're saying that they're better than the undefeated ACC champs, and then you give us a litany of reasons why. Well, the quarterback. Well, that was a good storyline. They still won with their quarterback. Louisville wasn't good
but
enough.
yeah, I don't think I went in depth or explained it well enough yesterday. How does Texas jump Ohio State? Like
Well, the
I
reason
can't even
why
remember who Texas lost to. Who did Texas lose to?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Are they in the top 10?
Oh, not anymore.
Are they in
I
the
don't
top?
believe
Are
so
they in the
anymore.
top 5? No, exactly. They
No,
lost to
well,
Oklahoma.
well, the
Yes, they
benefit.
beat Bama, but they they wanted Bama no matter what. But they said we can't put Bama without putting Texas.
Exactly.
And so that's what got Florida State booted out.
But
But my thing is, what happened to Ohio State? Ohio State, they're the only one loss team that lost to an undefeated team. Michigan. Alabama lost to Texas. They lost. Georgia lost to Alabama. They haven't lost.
mhm.
Ohio State lost to Michigan. Zero losses for Michigan. How does Texas jump Ohio State? How does Bama jump Ohio State?
Well, the reason why those teams were able to jump, because when a team is idle and then you have significant games like conference championships at stake, that's what gives them the
I'm
go ahead to be
just
able to
saying.
do it.
I'm just saying. Once you say wins and losses don't matter, well, now it's just your
Your
what
favorite.
works for you. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
only what works
exactly.
for you. Because
And that
I can say what I just said, and it makes all the sense in the world. Ohio State's loss is better than Texas and Alabama's. Oh, but they're not conference champs. Oh, that doesn't fucking matter no more because the wins and losses don't matter. So why does conference championship matter?
they're picking and
Nothing
choosing.
matters anymore. It doesn't matter.
It's
And
unbelievable.
that's bullshit.
It made a mockery out of what they were trying to correct from, like we mentioned yesterday with 2001 when Nebraska got in it against Miami. They talked about a no champion, a non-conference champion shouldn't be in the national championship game, all the other crap. Well, now we do have conference champions. Not only do we have a conference champion, there's no argument about whether they're undefeated or not. They are undefeated. And we've seen how they've won. And we've seen how the story played out with the quarterbacks going down, and they still kept winning. They went into the conference championship game against Louisville, and they still won. They had a true freshman quarterback contributing to the win. And now they still get just the rugs pulled from underneath them. 2 1-loss teams. The Big 12, who everyone kind of laughs at anyway, especially after last year's debacle with TCU. And then at least you have the SEC, at least a name, it's still there. I don't think that they were the best conference this year, or they from top to bottom. I think the top 3 teams, as I said from the beginning of the season of the Big Ten, were better than the top 3 teams of the SEC. One of those 3 teams was LSU in the early going, then Missouri, in my opinion, at the end of the season. Alabama, Georgia, Missouri. But man, it's just a shame. But I think there's more sense to be made if they wanted to make their argument that at least Ohio State didn't get their opportunity to play in a championship game when it was on the line. So that's what gives these other
Every
teams the
argument
opportunity.
they make for Alabama can be blown out the water. Every argument.
Oh, Well, I think Alabama
I mean,
and Georgia
you
should have
want to
gone in.
say they want to say, oh, they struggled with Louisville. They didn't look good. They don't pass the eyeball test. Okay, that's with the third string quarterback. Alabama was at full strength with their first string quarterback and almost lost to Auburn.
Against
You gonna
Auburn.
tell me they look good in that game? Bullshit.
And then the previous game before that with Auburn, Auburn lost at home to New Mexico State. We're going back to the man who beat the man, that kind of thing. Like with Central Florida years ago when Central Florida beat Auburn in the bowl game, but Auburn beat Alabama, but Alabama won the national championship that year. So the man who beat the man, well, in that case, it was UCF, and they called themselves champs. And guess what? They had a legitimate gripe, but the bigger powers that are decided that they weren't worthy enough of being champions. And they did beat that SEC team that people claim are unbeatable during the bowl season. You know, I know there was someone in one of these Facebook chats or social media chats talking the nonsense. No one outside of the SEC can beat a middle of the road SEC team. Enrolls New Mexico State, not even a Power 5 team, beats Auburn in Auburn. Cut the nonsense. You don't even care about facts and figures. You just care about your feelings and your homerism.
Right.
But
100%. 100%.
We're back to square one with this, man, because now the vitriol is coming back up. And then Kirby Smart, should be Kirby Smith, but Kirby Smart now decides that, well,
Kirby the Frog, maybe.
Right? Kirby the Frog. Hey, everybody, I'm back in Georgia. He's up there saying after the game, if those guys in the committee can't see that Georgia's one of the best 4 teams in the country, they're in the wrong profession. He said something to that effect. You know what? It's okay that if they got in, so forget Florida State, who's already just didn't lose at all.
But so if you put Georgia in, who's out? Washington?
Then exactly.
Texas?
Because you can't put Texas out.
Right.
Exactly. You can't put Texas out. But the bottom line is this is what Kirby Smart is thinking. See, it's always just that kind of thing because they were going after their 3rd national championship in a row, which hasn't been done since World War II. We've spoken about that earlier this season. With Minnesota, but they lost the game. And you know what? Going by the eyeball test throughout the entire season, I never really got that feeling that they were the best team. I've kept saying that Michigan was the best team. And there were times when Michigan probably didn't look like the best team. That's why Ohio State became the number 1 team at one point. But Michigan proved their worth and beat Ohio State the way they should have beaten them. Not only that, if you want to talk about things that happened, incidents that kind of disrupted the team, Jim Harbaugh didn't coach in 6 games this year, and the team continued to win. The same thing like Florida State, having the issues with the quarterback, and they still continued to win.
I don't know. It should never be an issue. Undefeated teams, it's automatic. You got 3 undefeated teams, they're all in the playoff. Man, I don't care. I don't care. It's ridiculous, man. Why play the damn games? I said it yesterday. When Jordan Travis went down, the committee should have just dropped Florida State out of the top 5 then. Oh, they're done. They lost their starting quarterback. We don't care what happens. We don't care if they win the next game. We don't care if they win the conference championship. They're down now. They're out of it. I'd have more respect for them if they did that. That would make more sense. I'm not saying it would be right. I wouldn't like it, but I'd have more respect for them. Don't rank them number 3. They went out. Oh, they're not number 3. They're number 5. Well, how? Because they won?
And Booger McFarland, someone who I rarely agree with. This guy got it right on point, and it seems like he was the only one to have the balls to do so. He was the only one. Stephen A. is acting like Florida State didn't deserve it. All these others.
Stephen A. can eat a dick with his TCU talk. Florida State's not TCU.
No, Florida State isn't TCU. They have the players, at least on defense, to slow things down. If they were going to lose, they're not losing 65-7. The bottom line is, man.
I wasn't supposed to say that word, was I?
Yeah.
Stephen A. can eat a DICK. How about that?
Well, we might have to do magic with the editing today. If nothing else, just let it fly. See what the transcript does.
I forgot about the list. My bad.
But when it comes down to it, the wins really don't matter anymore. And so, what is college football coming to? You look at Georgia. You look at Georgia being the number 1 team, looking like they're going for a little bit of recent history. And then you look at what's happening next year with Oklahoma and Texas coming to the SEC. Nothing but money. they're always going to be, they're going with their new deal, I believe, next year with ESPN. They left CBS, even more money coming in, for the SEC. I guess it's going to be the SEC's world until someone else proves otherwise, even if it isn't a completely stellar year by the SEC as it was this past season. The ACC, once again, 6-4 against the SEC this year. Started off 4-1. That means the SEC had to rally just to get that 6-4 disadvantage. And then you get people talking about how the SEC is so much better than the ACC, how Florida State won in an easier conference, and it doesn't make any sense. All of these emotional college football followers making these arguments that do not make sense as long as their team got the nod, deservedly so or not.
Yeah, it's bogus. I'm done talking about it. I got nothing.
There's going to be more that comes up with it. And by the way, I guess
go blue. And I'll never cheer for Michigan in my life, but go blue.
I'm looking for Michigan to win because I thought they were the better team. I still believe they are the better team. I'm not even going against Alabama. It wasn't Alabama's fault they were put in, and it was the committee. Now they may have been a little puppeteering going on.
It would be so poetic justice for the championship game to be Michigan versus Washington.
Oh, you know what? And I can see that happening, though. I can really see that happening. Texas now, people act like they haven't gotten any better over the year. I mean, they lost to Oklahoma, but they did beat Alabama. And we talked about how Alabama's gotten so much better because Jalen Monroe has gotten that much better, and he has. But Texas wasn't just sitting there spinning their wheels either. They've been blowing out team after team after team because they've been trying to make up for that, even after the loss they had. So now I believe that if they have any opportunity to play, they're going to try to put the points up. I just think we have 4 really good teams. I just wish that undefeated team had their opportunity. We could have gotten the same outcome without Alabama if Michigan ends up winning.
Right.
So this is, I don't know. They're going to continue talking about that. And another thing I was reading about today, now the NCAA is talking about making another tier for college football or college sports where there's an NIL and paid tier and there's another tier of just other people. This is kind of going by the super conference I was thinking about, or many people have been talking about for years.
Like we said a couple months ago when the Big Ten was rating the Pac-12, they're going to be large enough they can have their own league, and the SEC is going to be right there. They can just decide, well, our champion is going to play your champion. Then what's the NCAA going to do?
Well, the NCAA is talking that nonsense now because they still want to be a part of something that's still generating money. When in reality, what happens when these presidents all get together and decide they want to get rid of the NCAA period and form their own super conference anyhow, having just the big dogs, about the top 30 teams, maybe 35 teams, and some of those other outside teams that kind of peek in every now and then, like a Liberty or James Madison as of recently make it. And so, I mean, the NCAA is trying to cover their butts because I think they believe somewhere down the line they could probably lose these teams and have that thing happen where these presidents get together, make their own league. What's preventing them from doing it? Some contractual things, but contracts run out well.
Looks to me like it'll be basically the North versus the South. Big Ten North, SEC South.
And not under the banner of the NCAA. And the NCAA has their own problems anyway, because you're talking about the billions of dollars they're going to have to start sharing if they make these players employees. They don't want to do that because if you make these players employees, they're going to form a union. And that CBA is going to get a big piece of that money that they're bringing in outside of just a few bucks here with the bowl games and bucks here with the bowl games. See, the NCAA have their own can of worms they have to deal with that situation kind of brewing. And it's been brewing for a while. But now they're trying to name this and talking about in a matter of fairness. And by the way, if they decided to do that, if it falls under the NCAA, how are women's sports going to really be involved because they typically aren't revenue-generating sports?
That's a good question.
More subsidies.
That's going to be a major issue.
Yeah, they mentioned something about Title IX, but I didn't think it was
not even just women's sports, like the outlier sports like lacrosse.
Lacrosse, yeah.
You know what I mean? Baseball doesn't generate a lot of money.
Until the World Series comes, and then the softball with the women when the World Series comes.
Right.
And by the way, when you talk about lacrosse, Tyler Buckner, which is now the second, maybe third string quarterback for the for Alabama, who came from Notre Dame just last season, and he is now going into the transfer portal, but for lacrosse. He's not even going to play football anymore. And going by the way I've seen him out there against South Florida, bruh, good riddance. I hope you like lacrosse. And also, how about Alabama having that struggle when they had their issues at quarterback against South Florida, man, early in the season? That didn't happen. That didn't not happen. It happened. Right. They struggled huge against that terrible UFC team. UFC. I said UFC. USF, the University of South Florida. And they hadn't been good for a while. They actually played better this year, but still, Alabama struggled mightily against them. Really had to pull out all resources to win against the University of South Florida. So, yeah, if Alabama's had their struggles when they had their quarterback, and they celebrated how they were still able to get their quarterbacks and get the win against South Florida with these quarterbacks. Well, Florida State did the same thing with their quarterbacks against better competition and still went undefeated.
Right. I mean, it's not like Louisville was 8-6 or 8-4. 6-5. They were 10-2.
Yeah, well, now they're 10-2. Yeah, they're 10-2, 10-3 now. But you know what? These SEC shills, because many of them are, they talk about, well, they lost to Kentucky. That Kentucky-Louisville rivalry has been a hot rivalry for years and years. So anyone can win that game, regardless of how good you are. Kentucky at their best can still lose to a mediocre Louisville team and vice versa. This year, Kentucky was the mediocre team, and Louisville lost that game. So in the heat of the rivalry, I can still see how the loss happened. I understand that it's a bad look going into the ACC championship game, but Florida State is still undefeated. There were other teams they beat along the way. The same way Alabama had their University of South Florida, Florida State had their Boston College, which took 18 penalties by Boston College and a fluke play at the end of the game for Florida State to win. But they got the win, period. It's part of the story.
Exactly. But like I said, I'm done talking about it, man.
Yeah, it's going to come back up. The transfer portal's open back up. Early signing day is coming up. So there's a lot more to talk about attached to college football because of the high school recruits.
When's the portal open?
Yeah, the portal's open now.
Oh, it already open.
Okay. Yeah, everybody's shopping like this is Walmart, trying to find out what they want. Players jumping into the portal. And as we mentioned last week, man, there's a high percentage of players who aren't taken in the portal and maybe even have to go back to their own schools and swallow their pride, or I don't know what they're going to do. Decide that maybe football isn't for us. But anyway, we'll be talking about that as it continues. And sticking with football, Monday Night Football puts a lid on the previous week's football schedule with the National Football League. The Jacksonville Jaguars here in Jacksonville took on the Cincinnati Bengals without Joe Burrow. I remember in the newspaper, but the website saying it was a mismatch. A mismatch for who? The Jags lost in overtime against the freaking
I'm thinking
Bengals.
It's our fault. I'm thinking it's our fault because maybe my fault, but you went along with it because I said Joe Flacco was starting for the Bengals.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. He probably would have gotten beat worse if it was Joe Flacco.
So Browning took issue with that. I was like, okay, let me show you something.
Yeah, he looked sharp out there. I mean, he really looked good out there yesterday. And another thing,
he's out there to call me Joe Flacco. Watch this, motherfucker.
Yeah, watch this. I'm gonna show you what Joe Flacco used to be when he won a Super Bowl once upon a time, or when he ran from Talapalco from Pittsburgh to Delaware. But anyway, another story for another day. But they always talk about a stat, and then there's something always happens. This guy hit 50 straight field goals. Man, he's been the best all season. Next thing you know, wide right. I'm like, damn. They were talking about how the Cincinnati Bengals haven't had a running game in like the past 2 years. They're just running left and right yesterday against this Jags defense. And then Trevor Lawrence, again, putting up nice numbers, getting the touchdown. He threw 2 touchdowns this time. And then he run for a touchdown, but now sprains his ankle and will be out for some time. CJ
I didn't see it. How bad was it? Did he get rolled on or what?
You know what? When they were up 28-21, I was like, bro, hey, I'm good now. No, woke up to a nightmare. So I haven't seen the injury itself. But man, to watch it up until that point, he was looking good. There were some plays like Ridley dropping balls. I'm still tripping out about how he's dropped passes this season, but they were looking well. Josh Allen was looking well in the defense, getting his intercepting, getting his sacks, just killing it all pro year. But yeah, he had his ankle stepped on by an offensive lineman, from what I read. And
So
so
I was watching basketball yesterday. I went to I got the league pass, so I went to the Pelicans and the Pacers Celtics game was on. I was like, oh, this should be a good one. I believe that was Tyrese Halliburton's second game on prime time. And man, he gave them work. He dropped a triple double. Celtics, uh, they had the lead, I think, midway through the fourth quarter, but then the Pacers turned it on, man. They they locked him up defensively. Halliburton was hitting threes. Um, they, they broke out to a little lead and going down the stretch, they made their free throws. It was a very nice win for the Pacers.
it's
So
Tyrese.
after that, I was waiting for the Pelicans game to start. So let me check the score of the football game. Like you, it was 28-21. I said, Jaguars should win this one. So I didn't even bother changing the channel. So I started watching the Pelicans and the Kings. Like you this morning, Bleacher Report. Trevor Lawrence leaves game. Jags losing overtime. I'm like, what? What the hell
What the hell
happened?
happened? Exactly, man. And this crowd was so lit here in Jacksonville. If you lived in Jacksonville or a town that's kind of like smaller, but it's a bigger city, man, you get that small town feel, man, when everyone comes together for a game like this. The Jags' first Monday night game in 12 years. All the fans from from the beginning of the day, the buses with Go Jags on the front, the freaking city buses with Go Jags. This is that kind of town. They support that team like that. They've gone through those years when no one showed up to the games and they got blackouts. Now, all of those young guys are now ticket holders themselves as adults, and they're keeping it going. And they were all dying and ready for this damn Jaguars to go out there and show that they can get it done. They would have been the number one seed winning that game. And look what happens. And then you lose your quarterback, so you get the double whammy. Man, and then
And the Texans won Sunday, so
yep,
they're another game closer now.
another game
So
closer, man.
The
Luckily,
Jags do have the tiebreaker, I believe, or at least
yeah,
at this
the
point.
Jags have the tie. Well, the Jags had the tiebreaker now because the reason why they were in front of Baltimore because they had the better conference schedule. They had
No,
lost in the
I'm
division
talking
schedule.
for the division versus the Texans.
Yeah, well, yeah, they split, but the Jaguars got the overall record right now, and if they continue to play and kind of pace themselves, as long as they stay in front of the Texans, they're still going to be ahead of the Texans. And so, because the division, whatever happens in the division, won't matter much if the overall record is better. But in any event, man, the Jags, CJ Beathard's going to be the backup. You know, I remember years ago when Gardner Minshew was here, and I call him a very good, reliable backup, which he's doing now with Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson down. But man, I don't think Beathard is that kind of guy. But he has weapons. It's not like he doesn't. And if Trevor Lawrence couldn't do a lot with these weapons like we were looking for all year long, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, I think he's only 2 touchdowns, the most he's had in one game all season. That's crazy to think, but he has run for a lot more than you would expect a 6'6" quarterback to do.
It might come down to game plan, right?
Yeah, you know, man, what the game plan is
That's
going
a
to.
good game plan.
Well, if someone sitting back hadn't played, but they've been practicing, they've been in the league for some time. You give him an opportunity to go out there. He does has weapons. You know, he has ATN. He still has Calvin Ridley. He still has Ingram. Man, he has players out there. Christian Kirk now got injured yesterday with a groin. So I don't know what the situation is going to be with him moving forward, at least immediately.
I'd start with a heavy dose of Etienne. Get that run game going, run some play action, throw down the field to Ridley. Just feed the rock to Etienne.
Yeah, but there's times, you know what? I think ATN is one of those backs in which you have to set up everything else and before he can run effectively because he catches well out of the backfield. So he takes attention away from, you know, he draws attention as being a pass catcher. But then when you just start a game off sending him up the middle or sending him to the side, he gets caught a lot. I don't know. You know, it's just crazy how it goes with him. Ultimately, he does get these yards and starts breaking it, but that's after the game plan has played out and
the line has to block, man.
A bunch of different areas. What?
The line has to block.
And the line, you know, the line's been doing a solid job of late. I mean, Cam Robinson isn't playing right now. I didn't get the latest on him, but he didn't play last night. I think obviously if he's out, he has the injury. He started the season off not playing because of a suspension. And so, but Travis Etienne, watching him all season, it's not a back that you just give the ball to in the beginning stages trying to set the tempo and the running game is going to be what we're doing. you have to let everything else kind of work itself out, and then the running game starts working. Then he gets his rhythm. Then he's kind of unstoppable at some point. And he hasn't fumbled as much as he's been fumbling when he came last year in his first year playing after coming back from an injury after his rookie year.
So moving on, I want to talk about the MVP odds. How is it Jalen Hurts loses a second game and now he drops behind Dak Prescott?
Dak Prescott.
Did they not know what happened when the Eagles played the Cowboys?
But you know what, though? And when they played the Cowboys, it was a little bit ago. And now Dak has gotten his game together. I guess it's what happened.
It's not like it's not going to happen again the next time they play.
You know what? I guess we'll just have to wait for that part. Because the way he's been playing, whether you're a Cowboys fan or even a Dak fan,
who has he been putting
up those numbers?
Who have they been playing?
They haven't been playing very good teams. Like Tua hasn't been playing very good teams or running against them.
Exactly.
But I think that the biases are going to come for being a Dallas Cowboy to begin with. Being Dak Prescott, he gets the pressures on him, but he is playing well. And for the teams in front of him, he's putting up the numbers and putting up pretty damn good numbers. He's kind of living up to his end of the bargain, not throwing 10 picks so far. So, hey, I can see how the numbers could change. And the numbers change as people bet on him. You know what I mean? So, but I don't know, as an MVP of the league.
That's true, but I'm talking the narrative on TV now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they're gonna jump on the next hottest thing. And and looking at Dak, man, he's playing some damn solid football, man. He has Brandon Cooks looking like a real player now. This guy's been everywhere. He has his blazing speed.
Yeah, but you got to keep things in perspective. When they had their big games, they lost.
They lost.
Beat up on the less than average teams. Great for you. What do you do when you need that victory against your division rival?
Well, we saw
if he does it to the Eagles. If he does it to the Eagles in the rematch, well, more power to you. But he's got to come out of there with the dub.
Oh, that's the truth. You know what I mean? In this day and age, you don't even have to get the dub because if he throws 4 touchdowns and runs for another and they lose in a shootout, he's still going to get the props that he probably would deserve.
Yeah, but if he loses in the shootout, then what is Jalen Hurts doing?
Well, Jalen Hurts right now. But you know what? Look at Jalen Hurts' numbers, though. I mean, if you're going by it, because the numbers are so different now than they used to be. Before, you could almost look at the numbers and it told the complete story. Now you can see somebody like Russell Wilson with like 20 touchdowns, and you look at the way they've played, but they got that winning streak going. But they're not anything formidable or anything to worry about when the season's really getting going. They're not going to be part of the playoffs. It's just that you look at certain, like Justin Herbert puts up these numbers, but look at the Chargers. They aren't winning any damn thing. And now you got Dak putting up the numbers. They're winning against the teams that they probably supposed to beat. They're losing against the teams that they have a decent shot against, and those are the better teams. But people continue to keep that in the brain. But with Jalen Hurts, he hasn't been putting up the huge numbers. They've just been winning games. Another thing like Trav.
I'm saying in Philly versus Dallas, if Dak does what you said, 4 touchdowns or whatever, runs for whatever, and they lose, then what is Jalen Hurts doing to make them lose? He's going to be putting up numbers. Because if the Cowboys put up 35 points and lose, then the Eagles are putting up points too. That means Hurts is moving the ball, he's throwing the ball.
Or the Eagles is running the hell out of the ball. They're running the hell out of the ball. Swift can run that freaking rock pretty damn well. And he's done it several times this year. Or they can strip sack the way they've been doing. They have that pass rush, that strip sacks, get it from Dak and just take it the other way. A whole bunch of different ways they can get it. But I just think that Dak he's going to be better than I thought he would be.
But if they take it from Dak, well, that's on Dak.
Oh, yeah. Well, if they strip sack him, is that really on the quarterback or the offensive line? Strip sack, man.
Depends on how it happened. Depends on how it happened.
Well, we kind of
if he holds the ball for 4 seconds, it's on the quarterback.
He's been known to hold the ball, so yeah.
If they do like the Bears and don't block the defensive end, unabated
with a free lunch.
Yeah, unabated, but after the snap, so there's no whistle. That's on whoever's on the line. Somebody got to pick him up.
Well, they'll get their opportunities as the season is coming down the stretch. We're in December. January is just next month. We're going to find out who the pretenders are. We kind of have an idea what some of the pretenders are right now. But, yeah.
Also, Cowboys, Lions.
You know what? The Lions, it's easy to say that right now, but you know what? The way the Packers have been playing with Jordan Love throwing darts like he's been throwing, bro, man. I mean, this guy's.
I'm gonna give a prediction right now. This is how many games or how many playoff games the Lions will win this year. 0.
Back to the old Barry days. Not winning the playoff. Well, they did win one with him, two with him. But yo, sticking with a little bit of the NFL. Did you hear the stupid news? And I don't even know why it's news. It's just the Jets. They're thinking about putting Zach Wilson back into the game because they're playing poorly. Tim Boyle is just the other trash bag. You know, the garbage man does come more than once a week, so we can have 2 garbage cans. And he says he doesn't. The story is he says he's reluctant to go back into the starting lineup, and his reasoning is
he
doesn't want to play. And now they're making a big deal about it in New York, and they're killing him, and rightfully so. Mm-hmm. And then they're asking, then they're trying to, I guess, damage control. Oh no, he didn't mean it like that, bro. That's what he said.
What did he say
about injuries? You know, I don't want to get put out there because of injury. Bro. And Sailor said, Salah is saying if he didn't want to play, he wouldn't be on his team. So I know this is not the end of it. You know, he was saying, oh, if he didn't want to play, he wouldn't be on this team. Kind of trying
hit the button.
Oh, yo, God. Well, you know, I need to hit it twice with these guys because we have some multiple trash cans. And as I mentioned, the garbage man can come more than once a week. And we have 2 garbage bags out here. And Zach is one of them. And Tim Boyles is the other. And they'll continue to back up, go to the other team, or drop back, throw to no one, or drop back and fumble. And they'll just go down the drain from there. 2 garbage cans. The garbage man has a real job. It's not just a one.
You know what they say? You know what they say? If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. And I think the Jets have proven that.
Bro, when we had one, we had none. We had a garbage truck. Come on, man. That's the Zach Wilson alert. Come on. God, that guy, man. But if that's true, and I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of it because they can try to spin it as much as they want. That didn't come from nowhere. That didn't come out of nowhere for him to say, you know, I really don't want to go back in there, man.
I'm trying to imagine a quarterback that doesn't want to play being on the field. Delay game, timeout, coach.
Man, if he goes out there and acts like he don't want to be out there, he starts doing crap like that. What he was doing when he claimed he was interested was bad. If he's not interested now in going out there and playing, and he does things that seem deliberate,
he's not going to pass it all. He's like, yo,
falling down, getting sacked.
Every play is a handoff. You stay right to my side. I'm giving it to you.
Man, something like that happened, man. I'm not even going to get into detail with that one. Come on, man. JFK, the only one, never mind.
But you know what? Aaron Rodgers got hurt handing off the ball, so
he wanted to be out there, and he was trying to be out there. This is the guy who doesn't want to be out there.
I don't know, man.
They didn't take Aaron Rodgers in his wheelchair and said, yes, you're going to play today. Zach Wilson is saying he doesn't want to play. And that's the story that's out there. There isn't anything misconstrued or what they're trying to do now from a damage control, department, whatever they're trying to do to fix it up. He doesn't want to be with the Jets. He's not going to be with the Jets long term. I can't even imagine this guy going to another franchise and doing well in any capacity. He and Mac Jones are 2 of the quarterbacks that are under the most pressure right now, or the most fire. And I'll tell you right now, I would rather get Mac Jones coming to the Jets. When you look at what's going on up there in New England with all the offensive coordinators and all the tumultuous things going up there, bring him to the damn Jets.
I don't know why you'd want him.
Because he's from Jacksonville.
What's their current draft position?
Oh, man, I haven't checked it, but I guess it would be Chicago now because they got Carolina's pick. And
no, I'm saying the Jets. What is their current
Oh, I don't know. I haven't checked their current position.
Like 9, 12?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's the Jaden Daniels area, maybe.
Yeah, you know what? Man, he's still someone who has to. These players, like those guys, are they pro ready right now? I thought Bryce Young was, and we see what's going on, but is Carolina that bad to where he's not getting a chance to show his talent? We've seen that before. Or, Peyton Manning, he came in with those Indianapolis Colts. He wasn't throwing a whole bunch of touchdowns. Well, he threw touchdowns, but also threw a lot of picks. But eventually he moved up and started showing his true colors. With Jaden Daniels or even Bo Nix, if they came into the NFL or when they get to the NFL, there's going to be that time to where they have to kind of season them. I know CJ Stroud already spoiled the hell out of everybody, and they think the next guy that they bring in is going to be someone that they can make the same kind of player. And if so, Jaden Daniels definitely over Bo Nix, making him that kind of a player coming into the NFL. But man, for the Jets and then the offensive line issues we had, man, awful. And I could go back to what David Carr, when he had that bad offensive line in Houston, that pretty much ruined his career. This guy had a hell of a talent, never got a chance to really show it because that offensive line got him just abused back then.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking, I'm not sure where the Bengals' victory puts them in the division now.
You know what? If Browning can play like that often, shoot, bro, they probably back in the picture a little bit, man, because with Kenny Pickett going down for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a few weeks, 2 to 4 weeks for the ankle surgery, man, if Cincinnati got something going on with that quarterback spot and the running backs are picking it up as they're doing, shoot, they may have to get back on the set and be a menace at least. You still have Baltimore in that division, who's the best in my opinion, but if Cincinnati can pull it off again, are the Jaguars that bad and overrated, or are the Cincinnati Bengals a team that can use a quarterback outside of Joe Burrow and move forward and do something? Not go to the Super Bowl, but win the division or make problems in the division. Maybe even if a second playoff spot is going to come out of a division, it's probably going to be the AFC North.
So the Ravens are 9-3, Steelers 7-5, Browns 7-5, Bengals 6-6. So Bengals got to jump the Steelers and the Browns. They're probably done.
Yeah, and with Kenny Pickett being out, but is that really a bad thing? Mitch Trubisky's in there. Maybe he's getting those first team snaps now without having to worry about looking over his shoulder against to see who's coming in. So maybe he's a little bit more calm. You would think that he's been in the league for so long. He's a true professional that doesn't worry about that kind of thing anyway. He knows his role. But
the Colts are 7-5 with the Texans. They're both one game behind the Jags.
Yeah, look how fast things just changed. The Jags pretty much were having a runaway. And now CJ Stroud has these Houston Texans playing like they're a true playoff team, and they are a threat. Because if Beathard can't play or can't do anything, what was Trevor Lawrence really doing? I mean, we talked about it the week. 200 yards, 197.
Well, he had his big game 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, he had the big game finally and still had one touchdown. Craziness. That shows that it's not even about the touchdowns. Putting your team in position.
He threw for a lot of yards, though. Wasn't it like 360 or something?
Yeah, it was like 300 plus yards, 362, I believe. But so he's doing a whole lot in between the 20s and throwing a touchdown once. But that defense also needs respect because it's been getting respect. They get after the quarterback. They cause the turnovers. And we saw last night another one of those. I think it was Josh Allen that caught that interception by the wide receiver. I don't know who he was throwing to. But yeah, man, it was but man, I didn't realize that it was even like that. I'm looking more at the Houston Texans than I'm looking at anybody else outside of the Jaguars. And then you get other teams, the Colts. And Gardner Minshew, man, you know what? If this guy has any measure of success, man, I'm happy for him. He's just that kind of dude.
Yeah, that's your boy. You've been talking about him all season.
Yeah, because I think he's the consummate professional you need as a backup quarterback because he embraces the role. But when the young quarterback is in there, he doesn't say the crap that Joe Flacco said to Zach Wilson in his rookie year. About, no, I'm just here to play, man. I'm not trying to mentor you. That's nonsense. You know what I mean? At least act like it.
Yeah.
Being selfish or coming across as selfish.
I would never think Flacco was a jerk like that. But
that's exactly what he said.
He is. I'm saying apparently he is. So.
Yeah, apparently he is. But Gardner Minshew, man, I saw him in the early season when Richardson was playing, how he would go to the sideline, the first dude over there, helping him out, sitting on the bench, talking to him and telling him things that he might have done wrong or could do better. Yo, you don't see that too often anymore. But yeah, Gardner Minshew embraced it. And then when he went down, Richardson, Minshew came in and he's a gritty player. Probably not going to win you a Super Bowl, but he'll keep you in contention.
So what's next?
Well, I don't know what's more to grow on. Well, there are boxing matches coming up. Oh, we should let people know if they've gotten this far that we're going to have a top 10 quarterbacks of all time show tomorrow. And Bosco will be joining. So if you all know Bosco, if you've watched our boxing segments or anything else Bosco's been on, you know that he brings the smoke. He knows what the hell he's talking about in the sports world. So be biased. Bosco and myself will be talking about
something tells me viewers and me not gonna like your list too much, but we'll
my
see.
list.
Yeah, because we talked a little bit about it.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
see.
we did. We
We'll
did
see.
because you know what? What I'm trying.
You don't have to mention no
Oh,
names or
no,
anything right
not the
now.
players. I'm just trying to. I'm going to make a real distinct differentiation between trying to just add people for the sake of just having a name in there and giving people who I think can really deserve to be in there. I mean, like Tom Brady's going to be on everybody's list, whether he's going to be the top guy somewhere in the middle. Depending on how you look at him, he has to because of the championships, regardless of the cheating and all the other scandals. He has to be on your list. So if you put him at number 10 because you think of all the cheating and all that other nonsense that came along with it, you can do that, but he belongs on the list. I'm not going to throw Y.A. Tittle out there because he's a nice name. I'm not going to throw Terry Bradshaw on the list because he has 4 Super Bowl rings. The NFL is so much different. Who?
Otto Graham.
Otto Graham, exactly. Just naming people. Just it's like the boxing when people just mention Harry Graham to make you think they know about boxing. Yeah, and that Harry Graham, I saw him fight. I saw a video. There aren't any damn videos. Come on, and not even videos of him shadow boxing Harley. But anyway, I want to make sure that I want to pick quarterbacks that were in an era where the rules changes weren't so influential and made the quarterback better because, like, you to a degree, you mentioned Tom Brady. I can mention Tom Brady, and you can see how the rules came where he couldn't get touched because it now became an issue. Whereas if you saw Terry Bradshaw, everyone touched him. He got teeth knocked out the whole nine. I mean, I want to be able to pick the quarterbacks that the rules changes wouldn't have mattered whether they
Can
were.
you imagine what that dickhead? I'm sorry, I did it again for the Packers. What he did to Jim McMahon. If somebody did that to Tom Brady,
bruh,
it'd be an indefinite suspension.
It'll be a legitimate bounty gate because there will be someone out there with a real bounty looking to get him, not on the football field either. It'd be one of those things. But that's the truth. The guy would have been banned.
Getting back to that dude, he had a hit list of numbers on his towel.
With his towel, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that shows you his intentions. Why didn't the refs do something? I don't know. Whatever.
No, you're up in that area.
That cost the Bears potentially another Super Bowl.
But you're up in that area, so I knew it made hellified news when it happened. Did he ever give us some type of a reason or excuse for why he had done it? I never heard the reason. Like, yeah, we had to broke. I was to knock him out the game.
What other reason? He's a punk ass Packer getting his ass whipped by the Bears every year.
And that's what he said in the news. So how do you feel? I'm a punk ass Packer. We had to get him.
No, I'm not saying that.
We had to get him out of there.
I don't care what he said. I'm telling you why he did it.
So I never heard the story of why, because he just was vilified so much that I never really heard the story of even him trying to apologize or anything. The apology wouldn't have mattered any damn way looking at the egregious act. But I never heard anything afterwards about, okay, I did it because of this. Not just the rivalry, but because we had a personal thing going. Well, what about those other guys on your towel? How did that go? You know what I mean? I don't know. I never heard it. Right. Anyway, baseball, hot stove still going on.
Yamamoto's in the news.
Yeah.
Team trying to get him to sign. Otani's visiting the Blue Jays.
And when they talk,
they would have to make an incredible offer. I don't see him going to Canada.
They said $500 to $600 million. That's his.
Yeah, but isn't everybody in that ballpark?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But for him, like when we talked about during the baseball season that this guy would get that kind of money, and I was only saying that because Mike Trout mentioned that.
I'm saying the Blue Jays offer has to be that much more for him to go to Canada.
You know, it's going to have to be. That's what I think anyway. Because of the taxes in Canada, by the way.
Right.
There aren't any exemptions for being an athlete playing in Canada that I know of, at least. And those taxes can't
Maybe he doesn't care about money. The Blue Jays have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
If he looks at it from that perspective, then it can make sense.
Didn't I see a couple of days ago or a week ago that they were talking about getting rid of Vlad? Are you crazy? Why would they even say that? Why would you even put that in the freaking universe?
I don't know. Was it Bleacher Report? They come up with a lot of BS.
It should have been The Onion. Come on, bad news. Come on, man.
They come up with a lot of BS articles, possible trades. According to who? The writer who just, this sounds good.
Yeah, the writer who just dreamt it up and said, you know what? This sounds pretty damn controversial.
Why would they want to trade? It was Vlad and Bichette. that were named. Why would
Whoa, that's your team right
why
there.
would the Blue Jays trade either of them?
You know what I mean? Let
Is that
alone
the number 2 and 3 hitters? That's the heart of your lineup.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, yo, man, it's like journalistic integrity has gone the way of the dinosaur, and it's been that way for quite some time.
That term right there is now an oxymoron.
What?
Journalistic integrity.
Yeah, right. It's true. It's true. Integrity. Yeah, right. Yeah, man. Chris Rock should say that in his next skit. Journalistic integrity. Ha ha ha. Yeah, right. Get the laugh track. That's it. You'll get some laughs for it. But yo, this can end it for us right now because we will be back tomorrow with our top 10 quarterbacks of all time for the NFL. You may want to listen to this one because, well, we're not making a list to be controversial. I'm going with what I truly believe with some thought behind it are the top 10 quarterbacks, in my opinion.
I'm not putting no thought behind it. I'm just going off the top of my head. Wow, okay.
I mean, I just want to be thoughtful because, like I said, hell, just throw Wyatt Tittle in there.
No, man. The last top 10 we did, we were in agreement the night before, and then you sprung a surprise on me. That was bogus, man. So we're not. I'm not giving you my top 3. I don't want to know your top 3 ahead of time because you'll probably change it anyway.
Let me see. Zach Wilson, Ken O'Brien. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Richard Todd.
Mark Sanchez. But you know, my favorite, you know what, 2 favorite players of all time, though. Barry Sanders and Vinny Testaverde. Vinny Testaverde's always been my top. Barry Sanders and Vinny Testaverde's been my top.
See Barry, but why Vinny?
Vinny's, man. I've been Vinny's fan forever, man. Look, first of all, he's from New York. He went to the University of Miami, which typically Northeasterners don't even end up at Miami. They aren't good enough most times. And then he, not only because he won the Heisman, I was a fan before that. And then he ends up coming to the Jets, man. And then the story with he and his father, man. Come on, man. I've been a Vinny
Kozar instead of Vinny.
My wife bought me a Vinny Testaverde beanie baby years ago. I mean, yo, and she bought me a Derek Jeter one after the World Series. But anyways, yeah, man. Vinny's always been my guy. Barry's been my guy for all the right reasons. Vinny's just been my guy, period. This guy.
Barry's number 3 on the list, anyway.
Yeah, Barry's number 1 on the list. I understand.
Number 3.
Barry's the man. But in the best pure runner, put it that way. Because
pure runner was Gale Sayers.
I don't know about that. I mean, Barry did it longer, and Barry looked much more electrifying than Gale Sayers.
Man. Oh, no. Longevity doesn't come into it. It's just pure runner.
No. Yeah, the pure runner for the longer period of time. With all things equal, the longevity is going to be the deciding factor. But as far as electric runs,
just pure running the ball.
Pure running the ball.
Doesn't matter if it's 10 games, 100 games. Gale Sayers.
Watching Gale Sayers highlights, watching Barry Sanders highlights. No question. No question Barry's highlights are better. No question.
I don't agree.
Of course. He's from Chicago. Bruh, come on now. Gale Sayers was electric. Barry Sanders was insane. He's not a generational talent. He's just a one of a kind. We can always compare Barry Sanders to Gale Sayers. Barry Sanders is better. No one's going to get paired to Barry Sanders.
Barry's not top 3. Gale Sayers isn't. But if you're talking just pure running.
I'm saying pure running. Barry Sanders.
Gale Sayers.
Well, I'm glad I'm right. But anyway, we'll get back to it tomorrow.
Tell us in the comments who's the best just pure runner.
Pure runner, man. And you know what? And don't slight Gale Sayers by just saying, I didn't watch him play. Get some video if you have to watch it just to make a decision if you needed to. We've watched Barry.
And for you idiots out there, I'm not bashing Barry. All right, Barry's a great. He's one of the best ever. And I rank him higher than Gale Sayers. But when you say pure runner, there's a difference.
Barry, man. Bro,
it could
pure
be
runner.
I prefer Gale Sayers.
Okay, I prefer Barry Sanders and everybody else.
Come at me with facts, with solid opinions, not saying that I'm throwing shade at Barry Sanders, because I'm not.
But I just go by the eyeball test, man, and Barry was just insane. I've seen Gale Sayers. Look, when Gale Sayers played the way he played, when Barry came around, they mentioned that Gale Sayers.
6 touchdowns in one game.
Huh?
Punt, returns, and everything.
Yeah, but was Barry allowed? They didn't give him punts. It was a different NFL. Barry did that same thing in college, running kickoffs and punts and all that other stuff.
Because he couldn't beat out Thurman Thomas. They didn't
do it in the pros. They just had him at the
Thurman Thomas was in his way.
And by the way, Thurman Thomas was in his way because he was an All-American. And when Barry got his chance, Barry was, do what Barry does.
Insane, Barry.
And if he
Barry was better than Thurman Thomas.
And if he played the third and fourth quarter of a lot of games, he'd have had 3,500 yards. And if they added those postseason yards as they do today, his 227 yards against Wyoming in the Holiday Bowl would have been added to that total, and it'd been closer to 3,000 yards. So Barry was just insane. And as far as a pure runner, man, I don't think there's anything we've seen before or since Barry. But once again, if they're gonna come,
you won't see another Barry.
Oh, nah. But we've seen another Gale Sayers because Barry was like, I said we could see another Gale Sayers because Barry was supposed to be a Gale Sayers. I think he just went past Gale Sayers. He exceeded what Gale Sayers did as a runner. More yards per carry average, right?
Because you want to bring longevity and everything.
I'm
just talking about just pure running.
Pure running. I mean, forget longevity.
The ball.
All things equal.
Hitting the hole, making people miss. Gone.
Making people miss was Barry's just his.
He didn't hit the hole though. He's behind the line, darting back and forth,
and still getting the yards.
And he did.
He lost over 1,000 yards,
and he had games where he had minus yards too because of it.
He lost over 1,000 yards in his career running backwards because of the offensive line. Now we also talked about that line wasn't as bad.
So is that a pure runner? A guy losing yardage?
No. Well, if people back, what are you gonna do? You're gonna run.
Yes or no question. Is a pure runner losing yardage?
Yes, a pure runner can lose yardage because he's making them into positives.
Not over 1,000 yards over a career. Anybody can get tackled in the backfield
and still have 15,000 yards
on a consistent basis. Have a game -1 yards in the playoffs.
Oh, bro!
Man, now you're making me talk bad about Barry.
You chose to do it on your own.
No, I didn't.
You got something.
But I'm not making up. I'm not making up crap either.
No, but Barry. No, I'm not making up. We watched Barry.
You're the one who said brought up the -1,000 yards. You brought up the -1,000 yards.
Oh no, he didn't. No, I'm saying he lost 1,000+ yards.
Pure runners go forward. Pure runners go forward. Pure runners run forward.
Runners go forward. If Gale Sayers never ran backwards, have you seen him on punt returns when he had to run backwards and just to gain ground to come back? Same thing Barry did. He just got caught back there.
He didn't lose over 1,000 yards.
But I think that even makes more of a point of him losing those yards and still getting up there just a couple of yards away from breaking the all-time record. I mean, that's just Barry, man. I just think the eyeball test should be able to tell us anyway. And from what I've seen of Gale Sayers and from what I've seen of Barry, I've seen a lot more of Barry though. And many times, even in the losses, the guy running wise, man. I mean, listen to someone like John Madden. He says that's like the best 5-yard loss you ever seen. That kind of dude. I mean, hey, pure running, man, electric. But anyway,
he was.
Well, if someone's gonna come in the comments,
are we gonna have to rehash the top 10 running backs again? I hope not.
We got a video for that, man. We could put a link in.
Because I don't want to talk about Curtis Martin again.
Curtis Martin deserved what he had gotten. I gave my explanation behind it.
He does, but he's not top
Hall of
10.
Fame too.
He's not top 10.
Top 10, yeah, he got it.
Top 10. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.
He's biased. I'm Trav, and I'm correct. Barry is electric. See you tomorrow.
I agree with that.
I mean, Barry is electric and the best pure runner. You don't agree with that?
I say he's not.
No, I say he is the best pure runner.
Well, I agree with half of that statement.
Okay.
I agree with half of that statement. Anyway,
if someone wants to chime in,
already.
Go ahead and
peace. We said peace. Stop the video.
Peace.